Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in again this week. We're going to be going over my 2001 Ford F-150 this week. Change of truck, same year, different truck. So this week we're going to be working on my overhead console. So the thing about this is the roof and the two light switches work, but the actual temp display as well as the navigation aspect do not work for it. It does not light up anymore. So we're going to try and see if we can get this working again. Just for proof, I'm going to turn the car on for battery right now. You can see nothing there, but everything else works perfectly. So I'll even turn it on just so we can prove that it still doesn't on. We're going to pull it out of the garage, make it a little easier to work on. So as you can see, it never came back on, just does not light up. Let's get to work on fixing that. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to just do this off camera, is we're going to just disconnect the battery terminals. There shouldn't be anything that really affects the airbags or anything like that in here, but I plan on doing another project today with this truck, so might as well just disconnect it to be safe. I would recommend disconnecting it just to be safe if you're only doing this anyway, because you never know what's going to happen, so you might as well take the appropriate precautions. Okay, I'll get back with you as soon as that's taken care of. Okay everybody, I'm back now, just disconnected the battery on the F-150, so we're good to go with starting to disconnect this overhead console right here. So what you're going to want to do to get this off is you're actually going to grab the front end of it first. So you're just going to get your fingers up there, or if you got like a trim removal tool, you can use that as well. Then you're just going to pull down the front. It's going to make some very pleasant noises. And then you're just going to move to the back. You're just going to pull that down as well. As you can see, it's just these metal clips in here. That's what holds it on. So you just got to pull through those. Mine are all nice and rusty because up inside the headliner for the longest time, that's why this is all rusty too, there was giant mouse nests in there and it was just full of all the nasty. So it's made it a little more rough on mine, but shouldn't have to pull that hard on yours. Once you get this off though, there's just going to be this one clip right back in here. There'll be a little pin right here that you just pull back, then you can just lift it right out. Just like that. Now it's disconnected. Once you get it disconnected, the thing we're going to be focusing on is right here. So we just follow that up, and it's going to be this box right in here. Now to get that off, all you're going to need to do is get out a nice little hex bit. I just got the Stanley set here. I got it from Walmart, I think, for like $5 for 5 of them on a clearance rack. Not bad though. So you should be good to go with that. And all you gotta do is just unscrew it. Make sure to put your screws somewhere you'll lose them. I like to use my cup holder. It's already full of garbage. And there's going to be 2 on each side and 1 over here at the very back of the unit. I think that's it. I haven't taken this apart before, but yeah, just lifts right out. We're good to go. So now all we have to do is get it over to our soldering station and start working on it. But what I'm going to start out by doing here is I'm just going to disconnect this top piece. So to get that off, there's these little clasps right here. Just pull up on them and then out a little bit, and then they'll start to disconnect. There'll be 2 on each side. Just get one side done. Move over to your other side. Get the other side done. And it's just going to pull apart just like that. Now all you have to do is lift the board out. There's one little clip right here. And that's just going to pull out. And now we have the board, so we're good to start working on it. So I'll meet you back at the soldering iron so we can get to work on reflowing some of these, because that seems to be the common issue. and we'll go from there. Okay, now we got this board over to the soldering station, aka the truck bed. As you can see, it's these pieces right here that usually have the issue. The solder just dries up on them, creates a dry joint, and then they break free. And as you can see on these two right in here, they'll lift right up. Both of them actually do. So the solder joint's just completely broken on that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to reflow some solder in there to get this working again. So I got my soldering iron out here. This is a cheap one I bought on eBay forever ago. Never cleaned it, so don't judge me there, but it works fine. The way you know that it's ready to solder is when you can take it, just a little bit of your solder, just dab it on there. It's going to tin the end of the soldering iron. Once you're able to do that easily, you're ready to start work. So I'm just going to get these both down all the way. Then we're going to start on soldering the ends that came loose first. So you're just going to want to, I'm going to actually have to turn this just a little bit. You're just going to set the iron in there to where it touches the pad on the board and the chip. Once it runs a little bit of heat in there, you're just going to take your solder, just going to gingerly put a little bit in there, just like that. Then you're going to do that for the same side. This might take 2 or 3 tries, so don't worry about it if it doesn't stick the first time. Second one's going much easier than the first. Yeah, just keep heating it up just a little bit and running your solder right in there. Then I'm just going to push this down. We got that solder joint done. I'm going to heat this one up again for a sec while pushing it down. This solder joint's done. If you get a little glob, don't worry about it. Just take it and knock it off. So these two are now good. We'll just put a little bit of a flow on the back side of them as well. Just heat it up again, just like we've been doing. Then just slowly touch the solder in there until she starts melting. So you can see it just started to accept the solder. So that one's good now. The key is just to get everything hot enough to accept the solder. So that one's good. So now all we have to do is just wait for it to dry up a little bit and not be quite as hot. Then we can go ahead, reinstall it in the truck, and see what our work has accomplished. Okay, we're now back inside the truck. This board is all soldered up again. Not the prettiest solder joints ever, but you get what you get sometimes, and it's going to work for it. So now all we have to do is get it remounted in. It's going to be just as easy as lining up these two pieces with the two pieces on the back of here. Just get them started. We'll drop right down, then we're going to reconnect this clip. Just push it in until it's snug. And all we have to do is take the top of it, just set it right on, and click it back together. Alright, so I'll click back together. So we're good to start the reassembly. Okay, so once we got this set back down, we're just going to screw it back in. Simple as just putting the 3 screws back in. We'll worry about testing it later once it's all back installed, because that seems like the best way of doing this. There we go. All 3 are reconnected. All we have to do now is get it back up in there and then reconnect the battery for a second to test on it. Okay. So now we just have that one clip again. And what it's going to do is the piece with the button goes towards the big block. So just set it in there, get it started, go till it clicks. And then we're just going to push it right back up in. I'm going to go reconnect the battery. Let's test on it. Okay, I just put that battery back on so we can do the testing on this piece. So let's put it into accessory and let's see if it turns on. There we go. Simple as that. All you have to do is just reflow those solder joints. Once again, we got our temperature on there and we got our navigation. Never actually got to play with it. Looks like it's got the Celsius and the Fahrenheit. But yeah, now it's all working again, so can finally see what temperature it's like outside and not be embarrassed when people ask me what this LCD is for. Thanks for tuning in. Hope this helps somebody out with repairing their truck. And yeah, talk to you next week.